Broadside for broadside we fought along the main, blow high, blow low, and so sailed we, until at last the frigate shot the pirates' mast away, a-sailing down along the coast of high Barbary.
The conflict between the United States and the piratical powers of the Barbary Coast was a story of patriotism and American resolve. America's war with the Barbary powers birthed a powerful American Navy and Marine Corps, and the Treaty of Peace and Friendship with Tripoli served as a temporary truce until a permanent solution could be accomplished with the diplomacy of both words and cannons. The conflicts and compromises that America was forced into by the Muslim pirate countries of North Africa were essential for the survival and growth of a young America. But when did this all happen? Who were the Barbary pirates? What did they help to accomplish? And why America? In order to understand the answers to these questions, we first have to understand how the extortion of the United States train industry began. Originally, France, Great Britain, and Spain struggled with escaping the clutches of the Barbary corsairs, predatory enemies of the Mediterranean who were feared by most traders. According to Dr. Tiffany Brooks,
corsairs were lawfully commissioned by their governments, although Europeans might consider them as pirates because they were, first of all, not Christian and therefore were considered uncivilized, and secondly, because they took Europeans and others as slaves.
America was without a navy, and Barbary pirates enslaved American traders and brutalized them with horrid torture methods. The Barbary corsairs were cunning and merciless, and pirates like the Barbarossa brothers tortured captives as they saw fit. One corsair named Abdrahman justified this cruelty, stating that according to his holy book, the Quran, all nations which had not acknowledged the Prophet were sinners, whom it was the right and duty of the faithful to plunder and enslave. On one such account, the brutality of the corsairs was displayed by Pierre Dan, who documented a series of engravings and writings as a slave in the book Histoire des Barbaries et de ses Corsairs. Over time, the European countries realized that they could pay off the pirates with an annual tribute, allowing for a treaty backed by gifts rather than honor or militaristic force. This was beneficial for the pirates because they didn't have to extend as many resources to get their loot, and it was beneficial for the victims because they lost less money through tribute than they would have in captured trade vessels and ransoming for enslaved hostages. Bennerson Little, pirate expert, explained in an interview with me, it was simply cheaper to pay tribute or blackmail than engage in naval expeditions. When America was still under the wing of Great Britain, it enjoyed the protection of Britain's tributes. When America broke away from Great Britain on July 4, 1776, young America's independence brought with it new predators. America now had to deal with 3 Barbary states, Tripoli, Algiers, and Tunis. As one might expect, the young country attempted to follow in its parents' footsteps and bribe the thieves. This is where the internal conflict of America begins. Thomas Jefferson, Secretary of State, formulated the idea of establishing a powerful navy to fight off the pirates. We ought to begin a naval power if we mean to carry on our own commerce. Can we begin it on a more honorable occasion, or with a weaker foe? On March 27, 1794, Thomas Jefferson ordered 6 naval vessels to be built. Some critics, however, including Vice President John Adams, argued that the tribute system had protected colonial American shipping with less risk and cost. Adams's opinion became more popular, and on November 28, 1795, the United States of America purchased peace with Tunis and Algiers by supplying a frigate and over $800,000, almost $15 million today. The shipbuilding was nearly halted, but George Washington, who was president at the time, persuaded others that it would be unwise to abandon their chance at a fleet. The reasoning for the continuation was,
it was as much a move for economic growth as it was for national defense. It supplied jobs for carpenters, timber cutters, sawmill operators, rope makers, barrel makers, cloth fullers, sail makers, blacksmiths.
In June 1797, the United States agreed to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, signifying good intentions between the United States and Tripoli, while the Bashaw of Tripoli, Yusuf Karamanli, believed that he was receiving the riches of blackmail, including the promise of more vessels and annual tribute. The U.S. was, in fact, merely biding their time to strengthen their navy. Fast forward to September 19, 1800. The U.S. fell behind on its tribute to Algiers, Tripoli, and Tunis. When the USS George Washington arrived in Algiers, the most powerful of the pirate states, with tribute, de Baba Mustafa stated that he would grant the U.S. the ability to make it up to him by letting them run a small errand for him. You pay me tribute, by which you have become my slaves. I have, therefore, a right to order you as I may think proper.
Mustafa demanded that the USS George Washington sail to Constantinople with a cargo of 200 slaves and servants and almost 200 animals. But worst of all, they were required to sail their ship under the flag of Algeria. Now, William Bainbridge, who was the captain of the USS George Washington, tried everything in his power to sustain the honor of the United States until they were finally threatened with armed conflict, and then the Americans conceded. The United States at that point was essentially powerless.
Bainbridge recorded, "Some tears fell at this instance of national humility. I hope I shall never again be sent to Algiers with tribute, unless I am authorized to deliver it from the mouth of our cannon. Something had to be done."
So on May 10, 1801, Tripoli declared war against America after yet another insufficient tribute. At that point, bribery seemed to be out of the question.
Many battles took place, and the fight between the American ship, the Enterprise, and the Tripolitan ship, the Tripoli, exemplified a common occurrence. During this battle, the Tripoli pretended to surrender 5 times, until Captain Andrew Sterrett of the Enterprise yelled, "Sink the villains!" and blew the ship to bits. The captain of the Tripoli threw the flag into the water, showing true defeat. This battle proved the pirates to be untrustworthy. On October 31st, 1803, another naval battle took place. In this conflict, the USS Philadelphia was giving chase to a Tripolitan ship when it got stuck on a reef. After hours of struggle, the USS Philadelphia was forced to surrender. The pirates now had a superweapon. The only way to right this wrong was to get the Philadelphia out of Barbary hands, and Naval Officer Edward Preble had a plan. "Enter the harbor in the night. Board the frigate Philadelphia. Burn her, and make your retreat good." Stephen Decatur, a U.S. Navy captain, would pilot the Intrepid, and the USS Siren would be disguised with a fresh coat of paint as a Tripolitan merchant ship. In the night, the deed was done. Decatur and his men snuck aboard the USS Philadelphia, sliced about 20 pirates to pieces, and lit the ship on fire with torches. Although it was the United States' own vessel, this was perhaps the greatest triumph yet against the thieves. As a sign of gratitude, Decatur received a ceremonial sword named the Mameluke. Morale was high, and America wasn't done yet. It was time America took the war straight to the harbor of Tripoli. On March 6, 1805, General William Eaton, a man of many talents, led a group of 400 men to the city of Dern. Among this group were 10 American Marines, 90 Tripolitan foot soldiers associated with a former Tripolitan leader, and about 300 Greek or Arab mercenaries. After a 500-mile march that lasted 53 days, General William Eaton and his army attacked the city of Dern on April 27, 1805. The city fell, and only 2 Marines were dead. The Marines' first battle was won. Eaton expected that he was going straight to the city of Tripoli after to take on Yusuf Karamanli, but Tobias Lear, a diplomat, was under the impression that diplomacy through words was still desirable. Tobias Lear negotiated a new purchase peace on June 4, 1805, which stated that the Bashaw of Tripoli shall receive from the United States of America the sum of $60,000 for the exchange of the members of the USS Philadelphia. In America's eyes, Tobias Lear had just cost them the war. He had betrayed William Eaton, upset at the unnecessary deaths of his Marines. In Yusuf's eyes, he had won the war, becoming the piratical king of strategic conflict and compromise. Years later, Tobias Lear's guilt became unbearable, and he took his own life in 1816. But Decatur, thirsty for revenge, went back to Algiers in the June of 1815, after James Madison started the Second Barbary War. Decatur was eager to achieve peace, without any terms of tribute or bribery. He intended to finish Eaton's mission, freeing the United States from the clutches of the Barbary states. His fleet consisted of 10 warships, including his own, the USS Guerriere. He made short work of the Algerine Navy, and went on to force a peace treaty within 48 hours of the attack. The United States fined Algiers $100,000, equal to almost $2 million today. They also demanded full shipping rights and the perpetual peace between America and Algiers, proving the power of America's established navy. He even rescued all of the captive British soldiers as a token of peace with Great Britain, despite the animosity caused by the War of 1812. The Corsairs lost their power over North America after this, and this inspired European countries to take a stand to eliminate the pirate problem on August 27, 1816, with the bombardment of Algiers. America's war with the Barbary powers birthed a powerful American navy, and the treaty with Tripoli bode time until the eventual peace forced by Stephen Decatur ended all conflicts between America and the Barbary powers. Along this road of conflicts and compromises, it was proved that peace could only be established by utilizing both words and cannons. "'Tis done, the horned crescent falls, the star-flag flouts, the broken walls.
High, low, low, and so sailed we, a sailing down along the coast of High Barbary.